Well, it's pretty late, and I'm in the Lightheart Gear Firefly tent. Really impressed with this tent. It is quite a storm out there, and this thing is holding up perfectly. Good tent.
Welcome to As the Crow Flies Hiking. A while back, I was at the Pinhoti Festival in Alabama, and Lightheart Gear was there. They're the makers of the Firefly tent, the tent that I have on my backpack right now. They make a bunch of great products, including this tent. And so later, they sent me the tent to look at and review, and I was super excited because I got to test it out. So right now, I'd like to talk about my favorite 12 features of the Lightheart Gear Firefly. Let's do it. I would say the first thing that drew my attention to this tent as I saw it set up at the Pinhoti Festival was the 10-inch stays for the foot end. This has a multi-purpose to the 10-inch stays. Number one, it keeps the bathtub floor up pretty high, so you don't have to worry about water seeping in. And if you seam seal, as I did, the corners, you're not gonna have to worry about any of that. But the most important thing, and I think what Lightheart Gear really saw in their design of the tent, have you ever been in a tent and you're on your sleeping pad and then you're in your sleeping bag and you end up hitting the wall of the tent with your sleeping bag? And if you've got condensation at night, you know what's gonna happen. You're gonna end up getting condensation on the bottom of your sleeping bag, and then the next day you've either gotta dry it out or put it wet into your backpack. So this does away with some of that. With 10 inches up high off the ground, this keeps it high enough that not only is your sleeping pad gonna be off the wall, but your sleeping bag is gonna be off the wall. And that is a really cool feature about this tent. Another really great feature about the Lightheart Gear Firefly is the fact that it is a 1.5 person tent. Now that may not mean something to a lot of people, but for backpackers, if you've ever bought a 1-person tent before, you realize that most of those tents are basically for your body alone. They don't allow for any gear to be inside the tent. But a 1.5 person tent, as Lightheart Gear has done with this, gives you not only elbow room and shoulder room in the tent, but it also gives you room for gear. And for me, that is essential. I like to have space to put my gear inside the tent. I'm actually facing the other way, but I'll show you just how much room you have. The geometry of the tent is basically a diamond shape. You can lay in the tent and have a lot of room where the tent poles push out to the edges on the inside of the tent. Let me show you. Really a lot of room in there. With the 10-inch stays on the bottom, the 5-inch stays on the top, it gives you room away from your face and a 45-inch headspace at the top. The next thing I'll say about one of my favorite features of the tent, and maybe my favorite, is this awning pole. It's a carbon fiber pole. I think it's 15 inches. I'll put it on the screen. Lightheart Gear gives you this nice little pullout that the carbon fiber pole will stick into, and then they have the line locks down to pull it tight. So you can essentially create a porch mode with your vestibule, and gives you a lot more square footage of coverage from the rain. Underneath here, you could put your pack, you could put all your gear, your shoes, everything you need underneath this awning. It stretches out very good, and the coverage of both vestibules is amazing. But the other side also has a vestibule, just not quite as much space. But amazing to have 2 doors and 1 huge vestibule on one side. The other feature that you can see on the Firefly is that it has line locks on the foot end, the head end, the 2 vestibules. Line locks all the way around. Now for me, that is pretty much essential to have those line locks, because when you have a steel nylon tent as this, you want to be able to, if there's a lot of rain and it sags just a little bit, you want to be able to pull it tight and get out and just make sure that all the sagging goes away. So with the line locks, you can really tighten out and get that tension and tautness of the tent with all these features of line locks. Whether it be on the foot end, the head end, or the vestibules, they've got you covered. So the next big feature with the Firefly has to be the ventilation. Number one, you can see how when you pull back in good weather, the vestibules on both sides, you have a great tent for stargazing, the air coming through and giving you ventilation. As well as they have this unique feature of this vent. It's on one side for the Firefly. For the Solong and the Duo, I believe there's two of these vents, one on each side. You have so much ventilation because there's so much mesh on both sides. And when you use the carbon fiber pole for the awning of the tent, you can pull the vestibule up that high, essentially, and give you ventilation and airflow underneath the tent that adds to the reduction of condensation throughout the tent. The number 6 feature that I'll show you has to be the ridge pole. This unique design, and I believe it's patented by Lightheart Gear, it gives you a lot of space on the top to give you more shoulder room as it puts space between the two trekking poles that are holding up the tent. Essentially, it looks like a PVC pipe that's been bent on both ends, and so the carbide tips of your trekking pole go in. So you have these places on the bottom that are reinforced so that you have different pads on each side to prevent any kind of abrasion or ripping of the tent. And the handles go on the bottom, and then it comes up to this ridge pole. The ridge pole, as I will show you, and this is the brilliant little piece that holds all this thing together. Make sure you don't lose this somewhere, because it'd be hard to find one of these out in the woods if you lose it. It's simply, I don't know, 7-8 inches across, and it gives the appearance and design to give you more space at the top. With 45 inches of headroom there, this pole does everything for you. What a cool design to have this one pole that gives you all this room inside the tent. The ridge pole, when it's taken out, you can take the pullouts here and then another pullout here, and take the carabiner, and I'll show you how you do it. There's a little carabiner at the end of the ridge pole, and you can pull the 3 together and put it in storm mode if it really gets a downpour, and pull the vestibule down to the bottom. It makes it a lot easier. One amazing feature of this tent is you can get away with putting this tent up with only 5 stakes on this tent. You have one on the head end, which is the 5-inch stay at the top. You have 2 at the bottom, which is the foot end, and they pull it apart to give you all that space, because it is tapered down to the top and then opens up a little bit, tapered down at the bottom. And then you have 2 stakes on either vestibule. Now, if you want to, you can take 2 stakes and put it on either side to keep yourself from sliding with the tent. But essentially, all you really need is 5 stakes. And that is great, because when you think about the overall weight of the tent, this tent is 29 ounces. You got to add to that the stakes. And if you only have to use 5, what a great feature. Can I just say that one of the coolest features about this tent has to be the fact that they have designed this tent so that you can put both your trekking poles on the inside. So if you want to adjust it throughout the night, you can simply adjust it from the inside of the tent without going to the vestibule or getting out. You've got it right here. And with the reinforced pads on the bottom, you don't have to worry about it causing abrasions or ripping your tent. And they fit into the carbide tips, fit into that ridge pole that's on the top, and that is so cool. What a brilliant design. And I've never seen another tent company make something like this and creates all this space. Look at all this space. And I've got 45 inches of headroom because of the design of this, and all this shoulder room and elbow room inside the tent that I can fit all my gear in. I will say that I've noticed that I saw different videos, one that said that the trekking pole should be at 125, and another, I can't remember where I saw it, said the trekking pole should be at 130. So what I did, I just kind of put it in between. Either way, if you want to lower it a little bit, the vestibule can come down even lower, or you can raise it and get the optimal airflow and ventilation from the tent. I will say that one of my favorite features of the Firefly is that it is super easy to set up. The last feature that I'll talk about with the Lightheart gear Firefly is they give you the option of either the Sil poly or the Sil nylon. Now I got the Sil nylon because I believe the Sil nylon is a little bit more durable fabric. However, the Sil poly is more waterproof. It is made of a silicone poly coating material of polyester, and it is naturally waterproof, whereas the Sil nylon is made of a silicone coated nylon weave to make it into a tarp, and it is more water absorbing. I believe the word is hydrophilic, if I had that right, but in looking it up and trying to decide between the two, I like the Sil nylon because it's a little bit more durable fabric. Though it will sag at times and it absorbs water, I just like the Sil nylon. I hope that you will check out Lightheart Gear and all their amazing products. They have a clothing line, they've got tents, they've got accessories. They've got a lot of options in Asheville, North Carolina with Lightheart Gear. I appreciate you watching all the features of the Firefly, and I hope you'll join me again on the next episode of As the Crow Flies Hiking. Until then, I'll see you on the next adventure.